I'll press the record button, and those of you that just joined us for the video podcast, I do apologise. I've already done half an hour. I've already done 25 minutes, and I forgot to start the record button, so I do apologise, but you're joining us quite late. Sorry. Every week I do that. Every week I forget to press the record button. We've been talking about the NHS so far, diabetes, and how much the NHS costs to run as you're joining us so late. Oh, my fault. I do apologise, okay? But diabetes, once you've had it, if you're diagnosed, can you then get rid of it simply by changing your diet, I wonder? Jason. Are you in? Oh, he's in Cambridge. Sorry, I thought you were in Southampton, Jason. Jason says, a good way to imagine how much the NHS costs. Look at how much the Americans have to pay when they don't have health insurance. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't know if you've got any antibiotics in the house anywhere, have you? Someone do me a favour. If you've got some antibiotics or some sort of drug that you take, right? Go on Google and try and find the price of it. And I think you'll be quite surprised. That's what I did with my tablets, and they were coming out at £500 for a bottle. £500, and I have 3 different types. £1,500 a month it costs to keep me alive now. Is it worth it? Probably not. I'm here because of those. You know, how much are your tablets? Go on, type it into Google. Let me know what it is. You got my email, chris@unitedkingdomradio.co.uk. All right, we're going to take a phone call now. Good morning. Who's on the phone?
Hello, Chris. It's Mark, your favourite.
It's who?
Hello, Chris. It's Mark, your favourite. Mark Foster.
Can you turn your audio stream thing off?
Yeah, no problem. Bear with me.
Okay.
There you go. How are you, dear?
That's better. Who's that?
It's Mark Foster.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm all right, Chris. How are you?
And you're... where are you again?
I'm up in Cheshire.
I can never remember where you are, Mark. You're like a gypsy moving all over the place.
Oh, no, dear. Just to let you know, I'm diabetic.
Hey?
I'm diabetic.
You what?
I've got diabetes.
Oh, you're diabetic? Okay.
Yeah.
How long...
But it's really hit and miss because you've got type 1 diabetes and you've got type 2 diabetes.
Oh, what's the difference then?
Type 1 diabetes is usually where your pancreas is totally screwed and there's absolutely nothing that you can do with it.
And how does that happen, or does it just happen for no reason?
It just happens. It just happens.
Right.
Type 1 diabetes, those are the people that inject insulin and can have highs, lows, ups, downs.
Is that you?
Good days, bad days. No, I'm type 2, but I do actually inject insulin because of the fact that my body just doesn't like the tablets that can be prescribed. So
okay. How long have you been? How long have you been having to? I don't know how you do that, Mark. I really don't know how you. I look at a needle and I have to turn the other way, mate.
Oh no, you get used to it, Chris. I mean, it's a very, very tiny needle. It's only like 6 millimeters long.
Is it like a proper syringe thing, or is it like a pen?
It's like a pen.
Oh, really? So it's like a click thing, and then it's done, is it?
Yeah, you just dial up however much insulin you need, and you pop it in either your backside, cheeks, fleshy parts of your stomach, or...
How do you get it in your own bum, then?
Eh?
And you get it in your bum yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you must twist your arm, man.
It's not the golden shot, you know. It's not up, down, left, right, fire.
I'm a bit left.
It's just a case of turning your head round a bit.
Okay, fair enough.
But said, you inject it into your stomach or whatever. So it really doesn't hurt.
Fair enough. And how long have you been doing that for?
I've been doing it for 4 years.
And that's all right, is it?
Yeah, it's fine. I got diagnosed because I went for a works medical and I didn't know that I was diabetic at the time.
Oh, you didn't even know. What would have happened then if time had carried on and you'd never and you'd not been to the doctor, what eventually would have happened then?
Well, what it is, I mean, the classic signs of diabetes are sort of very lethargic or frequent passing of water, general tiredness. I mean, those are the two main ones.
Right. Okay.
So if you've got symptoms like that, or if you're thirsty an awful lot of the time, that's another one of the symptoms of it.
Well, to be quite honest, Mark, I could do with a cup of tea now. Really, I've got to wait an hour and a half now.
Yeah, but so I mean, if you've got a chronic thirst, then those are the three main symptoms. Those are the ones that you take yourself down to the doctor with.
Are you allowed to eat chocolate?
If I eat chocolate, then I have to inject more insulin. So it's like it's easier to control with insulin.
Right.
It's like so yeah. If you do go off the off the road a little bit, and you have a bit of chocolate or whatever, you can dial up a little bit of insulin to counteract the sugar in it.
Right. I went out with someone about 14 years ago, and he had diabetes, and he used to prick his thumb first.
Yeah,
and then he'd get a little bit of blood out there, put it on this, or was it like blotting paper or something like that?
Yeah, it's onto a special test strip.
That's right, yeah. And then he would, but he had it was like a little syringe. It was, the pen thing is a reasonably recent thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The pen things have probably been around for about the last 6 years, I should imagine.
Okay. Well, he and I used to go out to raves at a place in Turnmills. I'm sure you've heard of Turnmills.
Yes, I know Turnmills.
Well, we used to go out there and dance all night long. I remember one time we came back and was asleep, and then I woke up and I couldn't wake him up. He wouldn't wake up, and I was like shaking him and everything, and there was nothing going on. So we called out an ambulance.
Yeah,
and
he had a hypoglycemic attack.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he started shaking and all that violently on the bed, and and everything, and then he all kind of went quiet. So we called an ambulance, and they come running up the stairs, and he was just out cold, like eyes closed, nothing, no life at all. I thought, oh my God, don't tell me he's died. Yeah. And they came along, they put an injection thing in his arm, quite a large thing it was, a large syringe. They injected his arm. My God, it worked so quickly. I would say 10 seconds, it would it would
have been a glucose solution that they would have injected into him.
Well, literally, it was 1 minute, it was like, I went, oh, what happened?
That's it.
Amazing, just amazing. It was so quick.
That's how fast sugar can work, but it's also amazing that how much what I would call hidden sugar is in some foods as well.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there's no way that I could drink a can of ordinary Coke because it's got the equivalent of about 7 cubes of sugar in it.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, for me, if I was to have that, then that would raise my blood sugars up chronically. I don't think people realise just how much sugar there is in some foods.
Oh, I'm fully aware of it. I mean, I don't know, for some reason, for the last couple of weeks, I keep getting a can of Coke on the way home. I've done it a couple of times last week. But really, I don't touch any of the fizzy sugary drinks, even the ones that say they haven't got sugar in them, because it's still got something else, isn't it? Was it saccharin stuff or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, the saccharin's fine because that's an artificial sweetener, but the normal regular drinks, it's unbelievable. Like I said, a bottle of Coke is the equivalent of actually 12 cubes of sugar.
Wow.
In a bottle of Coke.
Wow.
So, I mean, I said, or if you go back to a can size, would you really put 7 cubes of sugar in your coffee, which is like the equivalent size?
What about those? Have you seen those little, those new little shots things that they've got? Like Lucozade shots and all. Have you seen those in the shops?
Yeah, they're like an energy booster.
Yeah, but I mean, is it all sugar?
Quite literally, it's just pure glucose, pure sugar.
Is that
great as a burst of energy for you, but so definitely not recommended for anybody who's diabetic.
I was going to say that would be bad for you as well, would it?
Yeah, it would. I mean, we get issued with little tubes of what they call glucogel. So if you're fit, if you're going down and you know that you're going to start having a hypoglycemic attack, because you start feeling dizzy and you come out into sweats and things like that. So, I mean, then that's when you need a sugar boost then. So that the NHS issue glucogel sachets, or I said that's just when you take a sugary drink or some chocolate or whatever, and you can come straight back out of it within a matter of a minute or so.
Mars bar would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Pardon?
A Mars bar would be a good one, wouldn't it?
I'm sorry, Chris, you're breaking up. I can't hear you very well.
Oh, can you hear me?
It's like a bad mobile phone reception.
Oh, is it? Are we dying, are we? Is it dying?
It's dying, dear.
Oh, okay. Shall I go?
Yes, okie dokie, Chris. Nice speaking to you.
Just before...
And I've sent you an email of some pictures as well from Birmingham that you might be interested in.
Okay. Can you hear me now or not?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
All right. Just quickly, if you had diabetes caused by being overweight, right, can you fix that becoming...
Not really. So once you've got diabetes, that's it, really. Right. I mean, it's like some people are controlled just by diet alone. They don't actually have to take any tablets or whatever. My sister's got that type of diabetes. So there's just so many different types. You've got type 1, and then there's which is the people injecting. Type 2. Some people inject, some people take tablets, some people just do it by diet alone.
Yeah, lovely. All right, well, it's great to talk to someone who's well, not good that you've got it, but to be able to tell everyone exactly what it's all about there.
Yeah, no problem, Chris. Nice speaking to you.
Thanks for calling, Mark.
Take care, Chris.
Bye now. There we are, Mark in Cheshire. That's fantastic, isn't it? When we're talking about something like that, I don't know anything about it. I can only pass on kind of second-hand what I know. But to actually speak to someone who's got something like that is brilliant because, that's kind of opened our eyes, isn't it? Anyway, let's have a look. Jason says, you're now on Gravity and Swish. Yes, it's the first time. First time that we're on Gravity and Swish as well. I don't know, actually, Terry's probably with us at the moment. Terry, the one of the people that run Swish and Gravity. I don't know. Are you going to leave me at 1 o'clock for the news for a minute? What's going to happen then? I don't know. Do let us know. Let's have a look here. Fag Ash Lil says, let's have a look. I lost £7 in 5 days. I just didn't eat. Well, that's not good. That really isn't. A crash diet is probably the worst way to lose weight because I guarantee you will put that back on again. You will get so hungry, you will just go out and stuff your face with all cheese and onion pasties and sausage rolls and ham and cheese rolls. Oh, I would die for one of those now. And talking of rolls, why can't we get crusty rolls anymore? Do you remember you used to go down to Baker's and get a bag of crusty rolls? Now, all you can get is these things in cellophane, and they're all soft and horrible, aren't they? And you know how it is, girls? You can't do anything with a soft one. You absolutely can't do anything with those soft ones. Why can't you get crusty rolls anymore, eh? Anyway, let's see. Fag Ashley says, here's a real NHS story for you. One of my children broke their leg when they were 5 years old. Oh, how did they manage that? I bet it would fall off a tree or something like that. Why do we do that when we're children? No fear at all, is there, when we're children? She says, 11 years later, I got a phone call from the hospital asking for the insurance details of the driver who hit them. They were not too impressed when I told them that he broke his leg by standing still in the middle of a field and got hit by another kid on a bike. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, that, isn't it? Let's see. Lil wants to know how much it costs when she was a teenager and had to go to hospital because she sat on a pair of hairdressing scissors. Oh, Lil. Did you really sit on a pair of hairdressing scissors? Nasty. Okay, up to the north again, Huntingdonshire. Terry. Hello, Terry.
The north?
Is it? Well, you are. What are you then? The east? North
The
east?
east, dear, the east.
Oh, is it the east?
Yes, lovey.
Huntingdonshire. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure where you are really.
Here, don't talk like that.
Oh, you're sounding like someone that that is unloved by a couple of people listening to the show today.
Oh, Di Fox?
No, no.
Oi, oi.
Is Di on there as well, is she?
She is.
Oh, how wonderful. Hello, Di.
Hello, Chris.
You got any NHS stories for me, any of you lot?
Oh, come on. I was a matron. How many
Well,
hours
I
have
don't know.
you got?
I know that, but my dear friends and loyal listeners don't know that. So tell us, as a matron, what year were you a matron?
Well, I started nursing in the early 80s up until 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, in the 80s, did you, as the matron, did you have a lot of power then?
Much more.
Right.
Much more
So-
than what you kind of have now. But the roles completely changed now.
Right.
I mean, then, you had to have your bed turned back 18 inches and you had to have your skirt below your knees. And that was the matron's kind of job then, to do all that and ensure really that the nurses behave themselves. But now they kind of have a different kind of role because obviously the rules have relaxed a little bit. But they have a lot more say over what happens on the wards where the doctors are concerned now.
I mean, I remember
Budgeting.
watching a program, Casualty 1927. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, well,
was I in it? Was I in it?
No, I think it was made after you were in the NHS, dear. But it was basically about the London Free Hospital, was it?
Okay, yeah.
In the East End, the London General Free Hospital or something like that, and how it ran and all that. And penicillin had only been discovered and people were always coming in there. They'd been burnt in fires and things like that. And it was an amazing programme. But the matron appeared to be in charge of most things in there. And when the matron spoke, you, as a nurse, you jumped. You were frightened of the matron. They may not have had all the wonderful drugs and things that they can do now. But at the end of the day, it seemed that it ran a lot better.
Yeah.
When you hear these stories now about wards being dirty and things like that, I have a feeling that, you can tell me if I'm right here or not, that if you noticed there was something dirty, you would just say to a nurse, go and clean that up now. And she would do it. Now it seems to me the nurse would say to you, no, I'm sorry, that's not in my job contract. Is that about right?
Well, kind of. I mean, when I started nursing, although I've done a lot more at the university from my original training. So, I mean, we kind of went to nursing school and learnt the basics. It was all about hands-on care.
Yeah.
And you could go either way. You could go and be a staff nurse, which I did, which meant you can climb the ladder, or you can just be a registered nurse, in which case, no, there was a state registered nurse and... I can't remember.
That's not Di. That's not the ladder in your stockings, is it, dear?
No. But there was two kinds of nurses, and one was one that wanted to, become matron and ward sisters and things, which I actually did. So you had SRNs, and they were the ones that kind of climbed the ladder. And what happened was then you learned in school, you learned in nursing school, but now they all go to university to train.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
the old style nurse has been faded out, and every nurse now has got a diploma and comes out of university and doesn't... I mean, I'm going to say this quite openly, that they believe that it's beyond them to do that sort of thing.
You see, this is where it's all gone so wrong, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I
mean, it can only be good for, I suppose, things like research and that. But when it comes to hands-on care and actually patient care, you don't need to go to university to do that. You need to just have kindness and common sense.
When you were doing it, were you kind of dedicated to the job rather than doing it for the money?
Oh, yeah, because, we didn't get the money in those days. I mean, it was a pittance.
How much do nurses get now? Is it reasonable or is it still a bit rubbish, really? Or don't you know?
Well, I can tell you that my last annual sort of pay before tax was £43,000 a year.
Right. Oh,
So,
that's not bad, is it?
That's good.
And that's for a matron?
Well, yeah, that's for. Well, it depends. You get graded now. You don't get graded on title. You get graded on your qualifications. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels, and so on.
But I suppose it's like all people. You know, there are going to be some good nurses, and there are going to be some bad ones, aren't there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But unfortunately, I have to say there are more bad now. Only because not that they're bad at their actual job, but it's just that it's just taking a whole new turn.
Is it the attitude?
I do think a lot of it is the fact that they do go to the university now to train.
And, you see, I think this is the problem with a lot of things now. Learning at a university and then actually, when they come out of university and join the nursing, are they straight on it, or do they then go with someone and start learning the ways of the hospital?
They'll get a mentor, you know, someone that will work with them, because I mean, although they do practical nursing throughout the training, we learned on the job. We'd do 6 weeks in school and then that was it.
Right.
Whereas now they have like 3 months in university and 2 weeks on the wards. And you know, when you do a lifting and handling course, for example, and no one tells you what happens when a 52-stone patient comes along and you've got to lift them onto the back of an ambulance on the floor to transport them. You know, there's no amount of university or studying or training that can show you exactly how to do that.
Yeah.
It's all down to hands-on experience.
It's the same.
You know,
it's the same with all jobs. I mean, take it. You know, a plumber, for example, goes to school, learns how to put the pipes together, weld them together, this, that, and the other. Okay, you can do plumbing now. Out they go. First house they go into, they have to climb into a tiny little cupboard, which is full of rat drop-ins. Can't see a damn thing. The torch won't work. There's water pouring out anywhere. Completely different situation altogether, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's just, I think that's what's distracted away from the actual true meaning of nursing. And I left for other reasons, but I think I would have probably left anyway, Chris, because I was very disillusioned with it.
Were you aware of how much some of the drugs cost? Now, I've told you already, you know, you can buy aspirins in Sainsbury's for like 69 pence. I know that my little bottles of pills cost £500 a bottle. What other examples have you got of those?
Oh, I mean, things like cancer drugs, for example. Yeah, £10,000 for a course, you know.
And how long is a course? Is that like one bottle of pills, or I don't know what about cancer drugs? Tell me.
Well, I suppose it all depends. I mean, you know, for cancer patients, they get completely different types of medication for their own individual cancer and their condition. Right. But, you know, I mean, in general, a course, I would say maybe something like the chemotherapy course for average 4 to 6 months.
Right. It's a lot of money,
and then
isn't it?
It's not over then, obviously, because they obviously carry on taking other pills after that, you know, and it's the pharmaceutical companies, they've got the upper hand because, you know, they need to sell them, and the hospitals need them.
I mean, people would now say they will be up in arms saying, right, you know, why should these pharmaceutical companies charge this, that and the other? One has to remember that it must cost them an arm and a leg to discover and perhaps not so much to make the actual drug, but all the research that has to go in it and testing, the endless testing, and they have to be so careful. I mean, if you remember a couple of years ago, presumably they'd been testing this certain drug for a long time in various different, and they were at the end of the line, and the very last thing is to test it on people. Do you remember that story a couple of years ago when they did indeed test a certain drug on some people? I think there were 6 students or something, and it was terrible results.
Absolutely, I remember that. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, the research that goes into it, and you know, I mean, drugs that are coming on the market now for the hospitals have probably been in production for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly being tested. And, you know, I mean, they can't just put a drug on the market if it's not been thoroughly tested.
So I think, you know, when we go on about drugs costing so much money, one of the reasons is that the millions that the drug companies have spent doing these, you know, what's the word? Inventing? No, discovering all the bits and pieces and then putting together right things, all the years and years of testing. I mean, it's not cheap to do. So before anyone sort of starts kind of jumping down them, fair enough. On the other hand, they do seem to make an awful lot of profit, don't they?
But you see, you go to the chemist and you pay, what, £7.60 something for them?
Yeah, or again, a lot of people are always saying, oh, that's very expensive. I don't think they realise the true cost of some of these tablets.
I mean, it's funny. I was talking to Adam not so long ago about this, and
Adam
you kind of, you kind of, you look at what actually is spent on one NHS ward alone. And from one pair of gloves to a box of tissues to a needle, and you sort of like times that by 6 million, and that's the cost of running a hospital per day. And I mean, what other country has an NHS? I mean, I know I might down on the way nursing's kind of carried out now, but there isn't another country in the world that can offer what the NHS can, and I just think people don't appreciate it. They don't appreciate what they've got.
Have you ever had a walk down to Casualty and see the total amount of waste of time going on in there?
Well, I was a trauma nurse in London, so I've seen it firsthand.
Well, then. Would you ever send... If I turned up to you with a cut finger, a little cut finger that needed a plaster, would you deal with me or would you send me away?
Well, now they have a system, a triage, which is one of the things that I actually went to university for, was to be a triage nurse, and that is where you can actually diagnose and treat patients without sending them through.
Right.
So if you came in, and all triage nurses have to do that now. So if you came in to A&E, you go into a triage room and the nurse sees you, and if it's something she can deal with, she'll do it there and then.
Yeah.
Would never send you home, not without any advice or care.
Have you actually read that book, the Tom Reynolds one?
No, I haven't.
Blood, Sweat and Tea, it's called.
No, I haven't.
Let me just, I'm just going to, I know where it is actually. It's in the other room. Just a second. If you stay there a second. And, Terry, am I all right to play a couple of trials? Is that
if you want to.
Is that all right?
It's your show, dear. It's your show.
Just while I pop next door.
Sing?
Hey? I'm not going to sing, no. I'll just pop next door, get my book, and I'll be back, all right?
Hello, I'm Paul Edwards, and you can join my show between 7 and 8 p.m. on a Monday evening on United Kingdom Radio. I'll throw in a couple of topics, you can call the show, and we can talk about them. That's how it works. It's simple. But I don't mind, you can also talk about whatever you want to. So go on, join me, you know you want to.
There we are. All right, Paul, what was his name?
Edward there.
Paul McCartney?
I'm getting confused because I've got Tom Reynolds in front of me. The book, it's called Blood, Sweat. He's got two books out now. Well, the first one was Blood, Sweat and Tea, and I'm now reading more Blood, Sweat and Tea. And this guy, he works on the ambulances, right? And it's basically a diary. And let me just pull out something here. Repeat offender. Okay, repeat offender. It says here, on Saturday, one of my first jobs was to ghost to someone whose name my crewmate recognised. He's a nice old boy, he told me. When his wife was alive, she'd call us every time he coughed. He's deaf and blind. He used to be a British champion boxer. He's a big fella, so I hope we don't have to carry him downstairs. We don't see him much now. He hasn't called us out in ages. The patient was sitting alone in the flat. Scattered around him were books that he could no longer read. In the corner was a television that probably hadn't been turned on in years. He was just a frail man sitting quietly in the chair, marking time. On the table next to his chair were the remains of some Meals on Wheels. I could see that he had once been a solid man, like the old man still living in an area who used to work on the docks, tall and thick with muscle. He wasn't that man anymore. He was frail, shaking, and seemed nervous of everything, not something you'd expect from an ex-boxer. It was not hard getting his history, as I needed to lean close to his ear and shout. Sorry, it was hard. At one point he let out a hacking cough just when I was up close to him, so we took him to hospital with possible chest infection. Our last job of the day was back to the same address. He'd been discharged from the hospital and just wanted someone to check his pulse, and it said we didn't mind. You know what I mean? And it's full of stories like that. It's full of important people who should have called out the ambulance and indeed did. And it's full of stories that people who called out an ambulance and really shouldn't have done so.
Yeah.
Got a hurt arm, need to go to hospital. it's not a taxi service, but that's how people use it, isn't it?
I actually remember, Chris, I was on duty one night. It was about 3:00 in the morning, and we had London is always busy, the A&Es. It's just, there's no let up. And, well, apart from when the World Cup was on, and we got no patients, but that's another story.
Oh, is it? Really?
I'm serious. When Brazil was playing England, or was it Argentina a few years ago, we didn't get one patient in.
It's shocking, isn't it?
And then about 15 minutes after the match finished, all the ambulances started coming in.
It says it all. But that's true what I said when I went to that hospital in London to meet one of my old listeners about 10 years ago now. And she said, look at them all in here, cut fingers and sore throats. She said, that's why we're under so much pressure. She said,
we are a nanny nation, unfortunately, now. We've made them into a nanny nation.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
but,
thanks.
One incident was that this family rang an ambulance because they'd run out of Calpol.
Do you see what I mean? In my mind, you should be charging those people.
Well,
you should charge them. When I worked for BT, we used to have an abortive visit charge. And that is if you went round to someone's house who had made an appointment and weren't in. And we would charge them for not being in. I think the NHS should have something like that when people are called out unnecessarily.
I think they do now. I think they do.
Really?
If it's there's certainly something like that, or there was, and whether it's developed since I left the trade as such, I don't know. But it is what they have to remember, Chris. It's not always the money either. 30 to 40 minutes a round trip to the hospital. Someone could die in that time.
Yeah. That's right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Diane. As a matron, I do feel compelled in future to do what you tell me to do, my darling.
Well, I can be very strict when I want to be, dear.
Oh, really? have you got the leather uniform and the whip?
I still have the uniform, but I don't use a whip. A riding crop. I have a riding crop, and it's actually PVC is the uniform.
Oh, you're into PVC, are you? I might have a little number outside.
Washable. It's washable.
I might see if I can get a little something like that to put on for the next show.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, dear.
Terry, have you had any experience with the NHS?
Only as far as hospital radio.
Oh, of course, yes. I mean, so a lot of these people who have got proper radio jobs, they really take the mick out of people on hospital radio. But it's an important thing, isn't it? It takes people's minds off it.
Yes, it can do. It can do. But, some hospitals don't have as much funding as perhaps others. And certainly that's the case in Huntingdon here. At Hinchinbrook, they are in so much debt. They really want the system called Patient Line, which allows any member of the public within the hospital to use the system that has TV, radio, internet, phone, and all sorts of things like that for a certain subscription charge. But of course, not all hospital radio stations are lucky enough to get funding for that system.
No, they can't afford it. I have seen that in a couple of hospitals. There's one, I had a friend in where was it? Chelsea and Westminster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that's modern. It's all glass. Wonderful looking hospital. And they've got this screen by the bed and all other bits and pieces. But to actually use it is quite expensive. Quite expensive. I remember my dad years ago, in hospital, 1993, 94 possibly, and he wanted to have, you were allowed to have a portable television near your bed. And it was a hire company that used to provide these. And it was £5 a day. And that's it's a hell of a lot of money. That's £5, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. That's £35 a week. Well, I mean, I said to my dad then, I said, well, how long do you think you're going to be in? I said, because in 2 weeks' time you can actually buy one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's true. And to actually use the phone by the bedside and all that. Going back even further than that to the 70s and 80s, each ward, and Di will know this, each ward would have one of those, we called it a trolley phone.
That's
okay?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And this was a big old metal thing on like literally on a trolley, and it was coin operated. So
That's
of course, as the coins got heavier and heavier, this thing, and you'd push this thing around and plug it into the wall. And then more often than not, because they used to go out of order, something chronic. I was a BT engineer, and I was always going around and fixing these things. What would generally happen? What would generally happen would be that the coins would jam up. They would jam up, and you'd have to go around and unjam them or whatever. But it kind of worked all right, and it wasn't that expensive. It was 2p or 10p to make a call. Now, these little units by the beds in hospitals are extremely expensive to use. Something like 40, 50 pence a minute. And then they get you, so you might think to yourself, well, why don't you ring them? Oh, well, they get you again. Right? Because for me to ring someone in a hospital at a bedside, it's like an 0905 number.
Yeah.
A premium rate number. Not only is it a premium rate number, but before you get through, you get this damn recording telling you, thank you for ringing Whittington Park Hospital, Hounslow, or wherever it is. You are being connected to the bedside area. Please let me tell you about our other services. And then she rabbits on for a minute. And of course, you're being charged £1 while she's rabbiting on. And it's outrageous. Outrageous how that works like that.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know, really, though, Terry. They look after you because you've got a problem with your eyes, haven't you? Oh, sorry, do you mind me saying that?
I don't mind you saying whatever to.
But you're
no,
quite...
to be honest, our hospital station, it's not the best one in the world. They've had a bit of a refit recently, but even then, they just don't get enough funding.
Right.
They get something like a tenner a month.
Yeah.
And as you know, to run any station on something like a tenner a month is, well, you can't.
Well, you can't do it, and that's it.
End
of story.
I mean,
You
a
can't
tenner a
do it,
month,
can you?
you can't even replace the headsets for the beds.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You just can't do it.
but when you think about all the patients in and out, well, as Di will know from doing ward work, it's just impossible. And of course, it's all this thing about hygiene and getting it all, and it's just, no. I mean, years ago, certainly in our hospital, I don't know about other hospitals, but certainly in our hospital years ago, each ward would have a speaker.
Oh,
and
yes.
Before you do your show, you'd actually go round to each ward and turn the speakers on.
Yeah, I heard of that. There was certainly, I certainly remember a speaker being in the cafe area, and people wandering around collecting requests. Maybe you should do that, Terry, where you live for Swish. You could knock. you just before you start your show, you could knock on your neighbours' doors and collect requests. There's an idea for you.
I love the idea, but the trouble is, neighbours around me in the particular part of Huntingdon which I live, they're all either old or deaf.
There's nothing wrong with old. There's nothing wrong with old people. I mean, look at Di, for example.
or they don't have internet, and that's where we need to start branching out a little more.
Yeah, that's probably the problem, not having the internet there. Yeah.
But, with things like mobile phone technology and things like the iPhones and iPods and all things like that, it's possible. We can, it's another medium for us to get our shows out, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. We wouldn't do any of this without the internet, would we?
Well, no. I was going to say, if you weren't doing this now, what do you think you'd be doing? Do you think you'd still be working with BT?
Oh, yes. I enjoyed working for BT. It was a good job. What
did you enjoy the most about that job?
Getting in my little van and driving around to little old people's houses and fixing their phones. You go in there. Oh, it's wonderful. You go in there and there'll be a cup of tea and a piece of cake. I mean, I put on £6 in a week once, dear. I used to climb up telegraph poles, put wires up. Yeah, I used to do all that. Yeah, it was a good job.
That explains a lot about you, really, I suppose.
It was a good job.
Well, my favourite job was in the community as well. When I worked for a GP, visiting all the elderly, it was lovely.
Right. Yeah. The business people weren't so friendly. They were miserable gits, most of them. Real miserable gits. These people are only interested in money and nothing else. But I always think that's very sad. Your only goal in life being to make as much money as possible. What's all that about? I've never quite understood that. I work for a couple of managers like that. This is their only goal in life, and it's unsatisfiable, right? If they have the best night of the year, right, they will go, oh, look how much we've taken now, right? To be that happy again, they have to take more than that. Do you see what I mean? So it's unsatisfiable. They will never satisfy their want for more money, and I just think that's really sad. Really sad. What's my goal? I like to entertain people. That's what it is to me. That's what I like to do. I like to perhaps try and get someone to laugh when they're sad, or make someone to perhaps feel a bit wanted. That's what gives me my kick. It does. Whether it's by playing music or talking to someone like this, that's what does it for me. It really does.
I'm just glad to wake up in the morning.
On the other hand, though, you don't need to try it doing that because you do that so brilliantly.
No, don't start all that rubbish because I won't take it. No, I don't want you to come back at me. Promise me you won't come back at me after this. Right, good. I have and always have had a very low opinion of what I do. That may well be the secret. I don't know. But I'll certainly not listen back to this show after I've finished. I can't bear to do that. I just think, how on earth has anyone sat there for 2 hours and listened to this load of rubbish? And that's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
I'm exactly the same, Chris.
Funny, isn't it?
I never listen back to my shows, never.
Terry Wogan's the same. He said that once.
Yeah.
Young Terry Wogan.
I can't listen to myself because I think, oh, my word.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, thank you lot. Lovely to talk to you.
And to you.
All right. We'll be with you till 2 o'clock, all right?
How fabulous.
See you on. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.
There we are. Terry and Di on there, listening on the Gravity and Swish digital networks for the first time today. A warm welcome along if you're with us for the first time, all right? Let's have a look at some of these messages. Kat on the Isle of Wight say, hi Chris, it's Kat. I'm at my mum's and I'm on her laptop which has no microphone. Oh, that's terrible, Kat. You can't talk back to me. But that means I could insult you and you couldn't have a go back. What do you reckon on that? I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Right, we're going to go over to America now. And Millie, who's in Minnesota. She usually comes on each and every Monday now with some amusing American stories and indeed a little bit of a chat as well. Hello, Millie. How are you today, darling?
Oh, good morning. How are you?
A very good morning to you. And I am unanimous in that, Millie. Unanimous, dear.
Good. I'm glad.
What are you doing? Is it cold? Has it warmed up yet?
Oh, I'm warmed up. Yeah, it finally did manage to warm up.
Oh,
can we get serious just for a second? Because your news about your uncle this morning kind of made me think of a situation that is now going on in my own family. It's not a brain tumor as in your uncle's situation, but for those who don't know, I use a motorized chair to get about, and I'm called Motorized Millie. And fortunately, I had someone in my family, my uncle, that really stepped up to the plate and helped me when my family, while they were not poor by any stretch, they certainly could not have afforded a lot of the things that I was able to partake of, i.e. 2 years in Courage Center in Minnesota, which is a rehab facility that I attended to gain the skills that I needed to live on my own. The house I grew up in to be remodeled, and so on. If he hadn't have done that, my life would have been a whole lot different. And right now, he is in mid stages of dementia right now, which is horrible to watch. And hearing your story kind of made me think of that situation. It's very difficult for all of us in the family, and as I'm sure you can imagine.
Millie, you're just fading in and out a bit, yeah? I'm going to call you back, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, because we've got a little bit of fading in and out going on there, so we're just waiting for that to reset, and we'll try again. Hopefully she won't fade in and out then. All right. Hello, dear.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, just about, darling, yeah.
Yep, good.
You were
Okay.
fading in and out a little bit then, my darling.
Whoops, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the story about your uncle's situation kind of made me think of mine and his situation. So I had a few tears this morning, you rotten... You make me cry!
We've got a message here from Fagash Lil, who says, it's different when you dial 999 these days for an ambulance when a different child spiked his stomach on a metal post. They just sent a car round to pick him up, but it was pretty gross with fat hanging out around the wound, and he was told that if he'd been slimmer, he could have died. You know, so sometimes losing weight isn't always a good thing. She also says, on the subject of the bedside units in hospitals where you can get internet, telephone and all that, those bedside units are extortionate. My daughter has Crohn's disease, or I've known that. My cousin had that, Crohn's disease, which is a bowel disorder. And I had my phone cut off once while she was in hospital because I didn't realise how much it was costing me to call her. Yeah, I mean, it's extremely expensive to actually call one of these bedside units. Millie, you presumably have some sort of health insurance over in America, do you?
In my case, I'm very lucky in that I have medical assistance here in Minnesota, but because, for those who don't know, what I have is cerebral palsy, and it was caused by an IUD, which is a form of birth control that was very, very popular in the 1970s. So, and because of that, I was part of a class action lawsuit. So I won, a trust fund that would pay for things that insurance wouldn't cover. So unlike most people here in America, if I did not have medical insurance, I would still be okay because I have that to fall back on. But a lot of people don't. And these days, a lot of people are hard pressed to get insurance these days, or at least they were until this healthcare bill that President Obama passed.
So that's a good thing, this healthcare bill, is it?
I see it as a good thing.
Right.
A lot of people don't.
But someone without health insurance, okay?
Right.
Say they're out somewhere and they suddenly have a heart attack. What happens?
They're not able, they are stuck with the hospital bills themselves.
So, someone calls an ambulance, the same as here, 911, is it for you, 911?
Yes, correct.
Someone calls an ambulance will pick up this person, will they, without requesting money?
They will, but oftentimes, unless you're really lucky, if they find out that you can't pay your bills, depending on if it's life-threatening or not, they will either turn you away, or if it's life-threatening, they'll wait until later to stick you with the bill, but you're only given a certain amount of time to pay it off.
Right. And then what happens if you don't pay it?
Then they send collectors after you.
It's a pretty harsh system, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But if you've got the money, you've got the best treatment in the world, presumably.
Correct.
Yeah, difficult one that really, because there are certain treatments for certain things here in the UK. A lot of the cancers that the NHS just won't pay for because they say it's too expensive.
Yes.
Whereas in
And I know that there have been some instances here in America. I can't really say for the UK, but I know for a fact that if people are too overweight, like exorbitantly overweight, and they happen to call an ambulance for something, oftentimes they won't even take them.
Right, okay. Oh, well. Right, Millie, you got some amusing American stories for me, have you?
I do.
And while you're telling your first one, I'm going to go over and close the window because I'm getting a bit cold in here now. All right, carry on, darling. What you got for me?
All right. In the odd news section this week, we have Tale of the Tape.
Tell the what?
Tale of the Tape.
Tale of the Tape. Yes, okay.
Robbery suspect duct tapes shoes.
Okay, I didn't hear that, darling. What are you saying?
Robbery suspect duct tapes shoes.
Right.
In Michigan, okay, the story reads like this. Maybe duct tape doesn't work for everything. Police said an 18-year-old Cadillac, Michigan man who fastened duct tape to the bottom of his shoes in an attempt to conceal the robbery of a northern Michigan business has been arrested. I know, I've heard everything.
No, Millie, I'm actually not laughing at the story. You know what I'm like with the money. I don't like to spend it. I know,
you're tight as anything.
I had a pair of slippers once where the soles were coming off them.
Yes.
And I duct taped them together.
I was just going to say, don't tell me you did that. Do not tell me you did that.
I absolutely did do that. I did do that. It's terrible, isn't it?
And let me guess, when you duct taped them, right?
Yeah.
Did you have trouble walking around?
Yes, I did. Because, of course, they would slip all over the place then. Or for some reason, you know, the edge of the duct tape would come away and it would start sticking to the carpet. And then you end up with marks. You end up with marks all over the carpet then.
Yes, so and then you probably felt like you were walking in glue all the time, right?
So you can't win. What else you got there, Millie?
Okay, let's see. Let me just scroll down a bit. Oh, come on, there's got to be more than that one.
Well, haven't you prepared? I thought you prepared all this ready, dear.
I did.
You doing this on the fly? What a cheek, dear.
Oh, you know what? I prepared this all last night, and usually on the odd news section of Yahoo, there's a lot more. But oh, and you know what? You ought to be grateful because you know what? I stay up all night on Sunday nights and into Mondays. I have not been to sleep yet.
Is that wise? Why do you do that? You don't have to do that.
Because if I don't do it, I'll let you down again like I did a couple of weeks ago, and then I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, you got an alarm clock, haven't you?
Yes, but more often than not, I sleep through it.
Oh, God. Well, get yourself two. I actually have 3 alarm clocks for when I get up for work at night.
You know, you're not the only one that has said that. My mother has suggested that I get another one.
Yeah, what you need is a couple. And you've got to put one at a place, obviously not too far out of reach, but a place where you can't just lean over and flick it. You've got to put one where it's a little bit more difficult for you to get to. So you can't turn it off.
Well, that's where I have the first alarm clock that I have.
Oh, well, maybe it's not loud enough.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, Millie, in one of my chat shows, I think on Tuesday's talk show this week, I've got an alarm clock to show you on there, my love, which you're going to love. I think it's either on Thursdays or Saturday's talk show this week.
Mm.
All right.
Really?
Those
Why?
those of you that don't know where that is, if you go to United Kingdom Talk.co.uk, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, you'll find the recorded chat show 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, audio and video on demand. Just have a little watch of that, okay? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Especially, I think, the Thursday or the Saturday one, I've got a new alarm clock, and you will love it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you cheeky.
That's all
Why
I'm
would
saying.
I love it of all people?
That's all I'm saying, lovey.
Cheeky. Listen, as long as I've got you, I need at least 5 of your favorite tracks.
Oh, yes. Now, where's my list? Well, I've got my list here in front of me, actually. Now, the list has about 40 songs on it, unfortunately. So I'll give you 5 of them then, okay?
Give me 5 because
All right.
I'm working on that.
Well,
Mom and I
here
are
we go
going to
then.
start working on that project for you in the next couple of months.
Here we go then, all right? Give It Up, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yep.
One Day I'll Fly Again, Randy Crawford.
Okay.
Oh, I've got so many here. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor.
Okay.
Last Dance, Donna Summer.
Okay. How about show tunes? Do you like show tunes? Like, from The Sound of Music or things like that?
I do like show tunes, but they don't stick out at me.
Okay.
All right.
I have one in mind already.
Day by Day. That's by Regina.
Uh-huh.
Scandalous, Mystique.
Okay.
You tell me when you want me to stop, girl. When You Come Back to Me, Jason Donovan.
Okay, and give me 2 more.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Michael Jackson.
Should have known that one. Okay.
Misled, Celine Dion.
Ooh, okay. Gotcha.
All right.
I got it.
I love the 3 Degrees as well. My Simple Heart.
Okay. Don't you worry. I think you're gonna like what.
Do you want one more that's completely and totally not like anything else?
Yeah, go on.
He Never Lost His Hardcore by NRG.
NRG. Wow.
All right.
You even stumped me on that one. That's not one I've heard of before.
I tell you, you wouldn't like that. Let me just see if I can play you a little clip of that. I don't know if it's here or not. This is one of those records that I used to go out raving to. Let's see if it's here.
Oh, one of those, huh?
Let's see if it's here, dear. 1 minute. Yes, it is. Here we go. You ready for this? You ready for this? That's nothing like what you expected, is it?
No, but you know what? It's not bad, but it won't work for what I have in mind.
I don't think they want me to play that on Swish in the morning.
Heavens, no, are you kidding?
Got any more stories?
Although
Give me
I
another.
probably could cut a rug with that.
Give me another story there, Millie.
I can give you a funny story of something, well, not funny at the time, but funny now, that happened to me a couple of weeks ago.
Well, if it's not funny then, it won't be funny to us, dear. Funny stories is what we want.
Well, it's funny because it didn't it's one of those, it could only happen on Monday things.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, you know about this, but you've probably forgotten about it by now. I was It was a Monday, and you know how much we all hate those.
No, incorrect. It's my favourite day of the week. Monday.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Monday, I get to do my first show of the week on Swish. Monday, I get to talk to you for 2 hours. And Monday, I do my karaoke night. Best night of the week. The only thing is, it is a bit rushed. You know, come 2 o'clock, I should be rushing downstairs to get my equipment ready for the karaoke, then go swimming, then have dinner. It is a bit of a rush, but I like that. You know, people often say, "Oh, you do too much," but that's what I like. You know, I'm not one of these people who can sit at home and do nothing but watch the television.
Well, anyway, I decided I was gonna make myself a pot of coffee. I drink coffee and tea, but coffee is my drink of choice. So I was gonna make myself a pot of coffee, and I went to the fridge and I was gonna go grab the can of coffee. Wasn't granules, it was coffee grounds. And I kid you not, the lid from the coffee can came off right in my hand. But the can flew out of my hand and landed just as nice as you please, upside down on the floor.
Of course.
It was a big, huge mess.
Of course. Why does it always do that? Have you noticed that? If you drop a piece of buttered toast, it'll always drop on the floor buttered side down. And you know, when it does that, Millie, it's really hard to scrape the dust off it before you eat it, isn't it?
No!
Oh, I've done that so many times. I've dropped something on the floor and picked it up and continued to eat it, much to the disgust of people around me.
But I bet you couldn't do that when you accidentally spilled your cereal all over Katie's cat tray.
Oh, poor Katie. Oh, Katie the cat, dear. She gets friendlier and friendlier by the minute.
Oh.
Anyway, Millie, nice to talk to you this week, darling.
Good to talk to you, and I will see you next week.
Chat to you again next week. Bye-bye, Millie.
Bye-bye.
There we are, Millie in Minnesota, USA, a regular caller to the show. She's with us every week. If you want to call in, please feel free to do so. The Skype name is United Kingdom Radio. Our Skype in is United Kingdom Radio. A phone number as well, it's 020 3287 3287 1488, okay? 020, it's a local London number. This is not a premium rate number, all right? Always remember that. 020 3287 1488. 020 3287 1488. Some other stuff I was going to talk about today. The new programme, the new TV programme on BBC One on Saturday nights. Dorothy. They are looking for a new Dorothy for a stage production of Wizard of Oz. And they had the first 2 programmes on at the weekend. And I thought it was fantastic. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, the BBC, which we've already talked about this a couple of shows back, the BBC did a programme called Your Country Needs You. And it was one of the worst pieces of television I've ever seen. The whole production, the production of it, the sound mixing, the presenter, the judges, the singers, all diabolically bad. Really bad. And I thought, what's gone wrong here? Well, they made up for it with this programme. What's it called again? It's not called Dorothy, is it? It's called... what's it called? Gee, I can't even remember what it's called now. But they're searching for a Dorothy for the Wizard of Oz. It's hosted by Graham Norton, who's doing a wonderful job of that. There are X number of girls who are vying for this job to be the leading lady as Dorothy in the stage version of The Wizard of Oz. And there's 3 judges. I can't remember their names now. Suzanne, what's her name? Suzanne, someone come back to me. Suzanne, someone or other. Oh, and she's just wonderful. Let me just type it in. I wonder if I can find that for you, the title of the... let me type in BBC Dorothy. That's got to find it, hasn't it? There we go. The show is called Over the Rainbow. Okay, the show's called Over the Rainbow. And the judges on there. Where are the judges now? Does it say? Here we are, the team. The judges are, what's the woman's name? There she is, Sheila Hancock. How wonderful is she? I mean, she's just fantastic, Sheila Hancock. John Partridge is one of the judges. They've also got, bless her heart, Charlotte Church. Charlotte Church is one of the judges, dear. I mean, I was surprised watching her, and she didn't even have a bottle of vodka next to her. I couldn't believe it, because she likes the old drink, Charlotte Church, didn't she? So she's on there doing it. She's on there as a judge as well. And I have to say, looking rather marvellous. Charlotte Church seems to be doing that job very well. So much better than that awful chat show she did. You know, I don't know sometimes. I don't think it's always the fault of the artiste who's actually talking. But there were two really bad chat shows that came on the television last year. One was with Charlotte Church and the other was with Davina McCall. And they were both just dreadful. And I think, I don't know what happened. Some producer somewhere must think, oh, you know, she's popular, let's give her a chat show. Well, it doesn't work like that. You know, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're good at something else. And they've given these two people chat shows, and they were both just dreadful. Anyway, the whole thing is headed by the great Andrew Lloyd Webber, who I just adore. He is hilarious. He is hilarious without trying to be funny, Andrew Lloyd Webber. He is just so funny, his actions and everything. But Andrew Lloyd Webber, completely unlike Simon Cowell, he comes across as a very caring person. He cares what happens to his artists. You know, you can see him helping them along and all that business. So a wonderful programme, that Over the Rainbow. Did anyone see it? I want to know on the Skype and the phone today. United Kingdom Radio is our Skype number, and 020-3287-1488 is the phone number. We're going back over to the Isle of Wight. We haven't been over there today. Over to the Isle of Wight and David. Hello, David.
Hello, Chris.
All right. Did you see that programme?
No, I didn't. No.
Do you ever watch use the BBC iPlayer?
I've used it once or twice, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's really good, that programme, if you like all music stuff and what have you.
There's a website called Seesaw as well.
Seesaw.
It's sort of like an iPlayer, but you can catch up on episodes as well, and old episodes.
Seesaw? I haven't heard of this. I'm just going to look it up.
Hang on, let's see if I can find the site, and I can send it to you.
I've got it. Seesaw.com.
Yeah, I think it's seesaw.com.
Oh, this is new. I haven't heard of this before.
Nor have I. But there you go.
I can't bring that up on them. Oh, there it is.
You got it?
Oh, it's got Channel 4 and 5 programmes as well.
Yeah, not ITV though.
Why isn't there any? You know what I can't understand on Freeview or on or on FreeSat, right? They've got BBC, they've got ITV 2, 3, and 4 plus 1, but they haven't got ITV 1 plus 1.
No, that's supposed to be coming out soon.
Well, that's the one that you'd want, isn't it? Why haven't they done that one first and the little ones after? Bit mad.
It's something to do with the advertising.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Royalties and all that business, is it?
Yeah. I'm on my own today.
Oh, I know. Your young lady is at her mother's, and she is apparently listening from there.
I know she is. Yeah, she's Skyping. You know what I mean.
I've just got that. I've got that Seesaw up thing, and it's showing me a little bit of a program called Embarrassing Bodies. I think I'd be good at being on that. I think, to be honest. Fag Little in Hove, actually, says, does Seesaw link into the nursery rhyme bit you were going to do? Yes, it does. Well done, dear. Because we were going to do nursery rhymes. We haven't quite got to it. Nursery rhymes at school. Do you remember any of those?
I don't. I know some,
come
but...
on, you must remember some of them. Ring a Roses. That was all about...
That's about dying, though, isn't it?
Well, yes, it was all about the plague, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No. We didn't realise that as children, rather.
No.
It was. Do you know what, Dave? It's getting ever so cold in this room. I don't know why. I wonder where my
Probably because Cat ain't here.
I feel ever so cold, and I'm trying to sit here looking reasonable in a shirt. I'm desperate. As soon as I finish this shirt comes off, and on goes an old Lonsdale chavvy type top.
Make sure the curtains are drawn when you do it.
Oh no, I often. Can you? Will you move your phone away from there, please? That'll be Cat. That will.
It's the Cat phoning me.
Well, can you don't talk to her when I'm talking, please? What a cheek.
It's all right. What other ones were there? I can't think now.
Here we go round the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Also early in the morning, there was... What was the one about the horse?
I don't know. So long ago.
Oh, there was one about a horse. Ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross to see a fine lady upon a white horse with rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. She will have music wherever she goes. Come on, you must know that one.
No.
The black sheep one. Ba ba black sheep, have you any wool?
Can you actually sing that now or not?
Oh, please, don't come out with this politically correct rubbish on this show. It was nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with race.
It's about Welsh sheep.
It was about sheep, for Christ's sake.
Welsh ones.
Get a life. Honestly, not Welsh sheep. Oh, well, they're very dangerous Welsh sheep, aren't they?
Yeah, what's this rumour Ross supposed to be coming back?
Ross is going to be doing a show on United Kingdom Radio. I'm afraid to say yes. That's upset you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, don't moan. Just don't listen. If you don't like him, don't turn it on. It's as simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know you're going to find this hard to believe.
I thought you vanished him for life.
David, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
But there are people in this world that don't like me.
Really?
There are, yeah.
Believe that.
Yeah, I've been out with most of them. And
Yeah.
there are actually people who don't like me. You know, we can't all like each other. It's just a shame that no one at all seems to like Ross. But there we go. He will be back, yeah, at some point doing a show from his garage. I bet he'll regret that one in the winter.
That's demotion, isn't it?
He will regret doing a show in the garage in the winter. I'm telling you that now.
That'd be a bit echoey, wouldn't it?
Eh? Well, I would have.
Echoey in the garage.
Not necessarily. One of the ways that people don't realise is a lot of people spend an absolute fortune putting up soundproofing and all this business. All you've got to do, if you've got an echoey room, all you've got to do is get really close to the microphone.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
right, if you get as close as this, you can hear how loud I am suddenly now. And if there was any echo in my voice, it's probably completely gone now, isn't it? Right, so all you've got to do is go out. But I mean, if this was just radio, then I would, when I'm doing my show on Swish in the mornings, I'm right up to the mic like that, right, very close. But while I'm doing with the video and all that, I come back a bit. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of in the way. So, yeah, that's the reason there. All right. What are you laughing at?
Hey? You went so far away in the background.
What now?
No, you're all right now.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be a long way away.
I didn't think they had soundproofing up in Norfolk, though, but there you go.
There's no soundproofing in this room. It's just a small room, so you don't really get the echo in. Kat's just sent me a message. She says, "This is funny listening to you both." Is it?
It's funny listening to myself.
Well, I suppose so. Fagash Lil says, "You're cold because you're not wearing your electric blanket." No, I know, it's in the other room. It's on my bed. Which reminds me, I've got to wash some sheets.
Didn't they? Electric blankets.
Do you remember Humpty Dumpty?
Yeah, I used to know him quite well.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. You must remember one or two nursery rhymes,
I remember
dear.
that one, yeah.
Any others?
No.
Oh, you're disappointed.
I remember a lot. I've got to start getting a lot out and reading up on them and start singing them.
Well, I think you're going to... What about Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Yeah, she also had a baby. Don't know about a little lamb, but I know about a baby.
No, she didn't. It was a little lamb. It was a lamb. Oh, excuse me. It was a lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, that lamb was sure to go. You must know some of these.
I know that one. What's the other one? Incy Wincy Spider.
Incy Wincy Spider climbing up a wall. Don't know the rest of it.
No.
Does anyone know that one? Anyone know that one? Give us a call in. United Kingdom Radio is the Skype. United Kingdom Radio, or on the phone 020 3287 1488. All right. Well, when you're ready, what are you typing away now at?
Oh, I'm just typing to cat.
You see, this is the problem. People will.
thinks it's
I
fun,
wish you'd give me your full attention when you call in, because I'm aware when you don't. I'm giving you my full attention. I'm not doing anything else.
High incoming sound system. I don't know what that is.
Oh, don't worry about it. Dave, nice to talk to you as always, sir.
Chris.
All right, speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye now. There we are, Dave, on the Isle of Wight. We must try and make a little trip over to the Isle of Wight at some point, I think. I am getting quite cold here sitting there. How long have we got to go? Another 18 minutes. I mean, it might turn into a block of ice by then, dear. God's sake. All right, let's have a look here. We're going over to New York now. New York, New York. Da 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 da. New York, New York. Da 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 da. Suko, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello, Suko. You're right. You're very quiet then.
I'm.
Oh, that's.
I have to turn off the sound on my other computer because I have you on the laptop and the. Wait, hold on a second.
Oh, okay. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh, it's fantastic. I can.
Oh, you're wonderful.
Oh, that's
you're
wonderful.
Just wonderful.
Being able to listen to myself doing my own show. I love it, Suko.
Oh, of course. Anyway, here's the Incy Wincy Spider. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
I'm doing it with the hand motions while dancing the futterwhacking. Okay.
You're doing what? Sorry?
I'm doing the hand motions, too. You know, there's hand motions that the children do.
Oh, no, I don't.
And I'm dancing the futterwhacking at the same time.
What is the
Okay.
The what?
It's the dance that the Mad Hatter does in Alice in Wonderland.
What's it called again?
The futterwhacking.
Futterwhacking.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of that. Was that?
You just saw the movie. We were talking about it the other night.
I don't know the whole blooming script, do I, dear? I don't sit there and intently.
Don't you remember the dance he does?
Well, I remember him dancing. I don't remember what it was called, dear.
It's futterwhacking.
Futterwhacking.
How can you forget that?
Oh, get on with it, dear. Incy Wincy, please.
Okay. All right. I'm doing the hand motions and the dance at the same time. I'm out of breath already. The Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the Incy Wincy Spider went up the spout again.
Oh, I love it! What a lovely voice you've got, Suko.
Oh, thank you very much.
I was expecting then a big orchestra to strike up behind you, but it didn't happen.
Anyway, David, don't worry. You'll be learning lots of nursery rhymes when that baby comes.
I can't believe he doesn't know any nursery rhymes there. That's unbelievable.
He'll be reciting them ad nauseum.
Yeah, desperately trying to get that little baby off to sleep. I think it's only a few weeks now before they have the baby, you know?
April 18th it's due.
Yeah, wow. Not long now then, is it?
Yeah. So, I went to see Alice in Wonderland because you and several of my friends told me how great it was.
I recommended you, dear. I recommended, didn't I?
And, of course, you steered me in the right direction. It was wonderful.
You see?
Yeah.
Who did you go with, Suko?
Excuse me?
Who did you go with?
With Jerry and Jade.
So your husband and your daughter, yeah?
It was a family affair.
Lovely.
We went for lunch first, and then we went to the movie. It was quite a nice day.
Very sensible, having something to eat before you go, so you're not ripped off in the cinema, dear.
Oh, well, let me tell you, we went to a theater at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
we were going to eat after.
Yeah.
And when we got there, they weren't showing it in 3D because they had this new movie in 3D and they only had one 3D projector.
No.
So we left there. We had looked up and we knew another film was starting at 1:45 in another town. So we went for lunch first and then we went there. So you have to see it in 3D.
I went to the cinema in New York, opposite Macy's and forward a little bit.
What theater is in near Macy's?
There's a cinema there. Macy's, I think it's Macy's on one side of the street, and then on the other side of the road, and you walk down a little bit further, there's a big cinema.
Oh, it must be on Broadway.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Macy's is on Broadway and Broadway and 34th Street.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the movie is really visually stunning, and it's in 3D. It's not the greatest 3D, and the reason being is that it wasn't filmed in 3D. That was a post-production decision. So, I mean, the 3D wasn't as good as Avatar, you have to admit that.
Avatar was fantastic. No, they're quite right. But it was a story.
It had a good storyline. Yeah. I mean, it veered away from the original Lewis Carroll story.
Yeah, it certainly did.
But, I mean, that's what, films can take artistic license and do whatever they want to make it entertaining.
Who was your favourite character?
You know what? Of course, Johnny Depp. Oh, really? But I love, the frog pages.
I think you're voting for looks. You're voting for looks.
Jade loves him. And, he's not my type, but I think he's adorable.
Yeah, okay.
I love the frogs.
The frogs. Oh, yeah.
Oh, and that one frog who, he was trying to hide the fact that he was guilty for eating the Queen's tart.
Yeah.
And the deep gulps when he realizes the jig is probably up. That was the best to me.
My favourite character was that queen. The Red Queen?
Oh, yeah. Helena Bonham Carter. She's fantastic.
She reminds me of Ronnie. Ronnie is just like that. I've got to tell you, boys and girls, that Suko came over to London last year, and I arranged for my friend Ronnie to give her a nighttime, her and family, to give her a nighttime tour of London, because it's something that you can't really do it. So he took him around in the car. And Suko, you only saw the side of Ronnie that he's very good at letting people see only the bits that he wants them to see. You have to remember, I know him inside out. And
isn't that the way with all, first impressions? You try to make the best. He was on his best behavior, but I thought he was. I just loved him.
The Red Queen is exactly his character. I could see him sitting in a chair, like, off with their heads. I love it.
I could actually imagine that.
I love it. Off with their heads. Actually, I could see you doing that as well.
Oh, please.
James would try and do it, but he'd run out of time, you see. We've got to move on. How was the show? I've got to tell you, Suko does a little bit of a spot. What would you call it? An insert? A segment. She does a segment.
It's getting littler and littler and littler.
I told you. I
had a lot of time yesterday.
He's not man enough to tell you how it is. He's got to turn around and say, I don't want you anymore. But he's not man enough. So instead, he's whittling away at your time a few seconds every week. Suko, actually, when Suko started doing this show, the whole show is 2 hours, and Suko had a 1.5 hour spot. It's now down to 2 minutes. Right. And each week, and now that 2 minutes has been split in half. So they have a minute, then they have a record, and then they have another minute. Is that right, Suko?
Yeah. But I always make sure that I have enough to cover about 2 or 3 minutes, just in case.
There's none of that rushing here, dear.
No, I know. You're just so wonderful. Mr. Wonderful. That's what we refer to you as, Mr. Wonderful, in the Sullivan household.
Do me a favour, will you? I hope you I hope you didn't buy any of that overpriced food in a cinema. You know, that's the same wherever you go in the world. It's very expensive here.
Very expensive.
I've eaten in the cinema in New York. I've eaten in a cinema in Sydney. It's the same everywhere. You pay your ticket and then they want another $10 for a blooming Coke.
Yeah.
And then
I
they
wish
fill
we
that
had
off. They
the
fill that-
premium.
They fill
you
that
know.
half up with ice as well, don't they? They try and fill that up with ice.
Oh, yeah.
What a cheat.
But I wish we had that premium deal that you have. We don't have that here.
Oh, yeah.
The premium seats, and you get the free popcorn and
Premier
the free
seats.
drinks.
Yeah. Premier seats, it's 20 quid each. Okay? 20 quid
worth
each.
it. It's totally worth it.
Right. But for that, you get your cinema ticket. You get those, what are they called? They're not crisps. They're like called...
Nachos.
Nachos, that's it. You get nachos, hot cheese sauce to dip into it, and you can go back, if you feel that way inclined, you can go back and have 10 bags if you want.
Yeah.
You know, you can.
Well, you know,
And you get, let me finish. You get a little plastic tray with a little dip in it to put the cheese sauce in. You can take that in. You can have as much Coca-Cola as you want, as much tea as you want. You can come back out while the film's on, get a refill, go back in. You get a big popcorn thing, and you get quality street sweets. Do you get those?
I don't know what that is, no.
They're like a big tin of sweets wrapped up in different coloured papers.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Chocolates.
a great deal.
Right.
You know, but
And that's
how
all
many
for
people
20
leave the movie to refill, though?
No,
I
you
mean,
don't. No,
you
no
don't want to miss the movie at all,
No,
right?
no one does. I certainly don't. But you can
Yeah.
if you want to. But the idea
Right.
is you take all this stuff. You don't actually get the big tin of sweets. You get little. You take a few out and put them in like a little cardboard thing, and you take all that in with you, and that's 20 quid. Now, when you first tell someone that you're paying £20 to go and see a film, right? They say, "Oh my God, that's a lot of money." Well, hang on a minute. Usually, to see a film, it's probably in most places, I think, about £6.50, right? If you buy the classic combo they call it, isn't it, of a Coke and a hot dog or a Coke and a popcorn, that's going to cost you another £7, so that's £13, right? If you buy those nachos, there's another £3 there, and when you add it up, it actually works out the same. But the big difference is you get a blooming great big seat, leather. Now these seats
fantastic.
these seats are set out in twos, and there's a thing in the middle. What you lift? What's that called? An armrest. There's an armrest in the middle, which you can lift. Okay, so if there's no one sitting next to you, and more often than not there isn't, you lift that armrest once the film has started. You take it up. You must take your shoes off. You know, I take my shoes up. I put my feet, and it's like sitting on the settee at home. It's fantastic.
On the buffet.
The buffet, dear. Oh, I've got a
Buffet.
I've actually got a buffet. Yeah, I've had it quite a few years. Can I let you into a secret? Please don't tell anyone this, Kat. I actually nicked the buffet from somewhere where I worked.
Actually, I knew that.
Years ago, that was. Years ago. I'm not saying where. Years ago. I nicked the buffet from where I worked. Well, they had a load of them in there. They're not going to miss one, are they, dear?
I think I know where it was, too. I even remember that. But anyway.
David on the Isle of Wight reckons that they water down the Coke as well in there. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I don't think they do. But we pay much more than you do. I think 3D movies are more. Do you pay more for 3D?
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
we also have a thing with the mobile phone company, Orange, here. And on a Wednesday, I don't think this works in the Premier seats, but on a Wednesday, you can get 2 cinema tickets for the price of 1 if you've got an Orange mobile phone.
Well, if you have Cablevision here, you get to go to the movie free on Tuesdays.
Oh, how's that then?
Yeah.
If
you get this Optimum card and you show it and you get to go free, and you get up to two. I think you get 2 free, and then you get any additional half price.
Right. Okay. That's
So
not bad, is it?
that's a good deal. Unfortunately, Tuesdays is not a good day
Right,
to
yeah,
go for us.
luck of the draw, isn't it? Really, yeah.
But occasionally, I do take advantage of it.
Wow.
It's good. But admissions for a non-3D movie are about $9, unless you go to the first show, and they give you a discount for that, the early bird
$9.
price.
Well, it's a lot cheaper than it is here. It's about $12 to see a normal film, not in 3D here.
Oh, well,
yeah.
that's out here on Long Island. In the city, it's more. It's probably about 12.
Yeah.
And then for the 3D movie, it was we went to the first show, so it was 12.
Right.
But it's normally $13.50.
Yeah. Well, Fag Ash Lil says, according to my son, it costs £14, including popcorn and a drink, to go to the cinema in Brighton. So I mean, 14, and for another £6.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, it is a little bit dearer to go to the premiere seat, but not as expensive as one would think it would be to get that extra bit of service.
Yeah. No, that's
by
a
the way,
great deal, I think.
Message here from Kat. She's 38 weeks gone. She's only got 2 weeks to go now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're all excited for you, Kat, and wish you the best.
Bless her
and
heart.
hope that Charlie will be a really healthy, happy baby.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. Hey. All right, Suko. Nice to talk to you, my darling.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm glad you
week.
enjoyed the film. I'm actually hoping, I don't know if it's downstairs because I heard the postman come while I was halfway through the show, but I've ordered the film that I never got around to see, 2010. Did you see that one?
No, Jerry does have it, though, on video.
One of those disaster movies, and I did order that on DVD, and I'm hoping it's downstairs. I'm either going to watch it I'll probably, because I usually go and see my friend Ron on Tuesdays, so I'm going to go around there tomorrow, and we'll probably make a night of watching that. And probably also the same as we were very, very naughty last Tuesday, both of us. We were very naughty. We ordered a Domino's pizza.
Oh. They're good.
With extra cheese on it. I'm telling you now, girl, this thing was dripping. It was dripping in cheese. How wonderful is that?
Oh, it's great, but it's not so good for your waistline.
No, I know, but one a week. Oh, come on. Come on.
Well,
we
yeah,
can't
you
cut it
have to
all
treat
out,
yourself
dear.
once in a while.
Right, I'm running out of time. Got to go, Suko.
Okay, bye.
Lots
love
of
you.
love. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for all your calls today. We have to finish bang on 2 o'clock as we're going on the Gravity Network as well now. Otherwise, I shall be cut off, you see. I shall be cut off. Just wanted to read you this amusing story sent in by our friend Mark, who's in Cheshire. He was listening to the funny stories that were coming from Millie in Minnesota earlier. A man who was photographed standing naked on the balcony of a transsexual brothel that had caught fire has said that he hopes to remain anonymous. The man, identified only as MFJ, said that he had fallen asleep after visiting his friend at the apartment which was in Switzerland. Shocking. The 33-year-old said, "I just hope my family can't tell who I am from my bottom. My family don't know about me, so I can't show my face." Now, do be careful, boys and girls. If you're going to start changing near windows, there's always the chance that someone's going to be able to see what's going on. All right, do be very, very careful. Time for me to go, boys and girls. Thank you very much for joining me. Do join me on Swish Radio tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock for my music and chat show. That's at heartheswish.com, okay? Heartheswish.com. Another chat for you tomorrow. That's at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. unitedkingdom.co.uk from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That one's not live, though, all right? I'll see you next week, same time, 12 o'clock on Mondays. From myself, Chris Reardon, thanks for joining in. Bye-bye now.